Hi everyone, I'm Meredith and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm so excited that you found me, and if you're returning, I'm so grateful you decided to come back and watch more. I love all things luxury. I love luxury shoes, I love luxury handbags, luxury lifestyle and vlogging. And if they're things that appeal to you, I hope you'll do me a massive favor and hit that subscribe button down below. Hitting that subscribe button costs you absolutely nothing. It means so much to me, so I hope you'll help me out. Today we're going to talk about the Murakami first drop. And I know a lot of people are just so done with Murakami. A lot of people are feeling really burned by the first drop. There have been multiple videos made on this topic now, and probably we're a little bit over it by now. However, I wanted to address some of the issues that arose and how bad it was after having spent some time talking to sales associates at Louis Vuitton in several countries, and the ramifications of that for them, and also give you a little bit of information about the coming drops that are going to happen really soon, because we're going to see cherry blossoms very soon. So let's talk about some of the things. Now, I am well aware that I am doing this video as somebody who had access to the first round of orders, so was always going to get the things that she ordered, who got all the packaging, and really I didn't have a lot of problems with the drop. I understand my position of privilege when it comes to that. It's a position earned through the relationship I have with Louis Vuitton and the amount of money I spent with Louis Vuitton, so it wasn't just handed to me. However, I appreciate that I come at it from a very different perspective, but I have spent a lot of time talking to a lot of you about your experiences, and I've spent an awful lot of time talking to sales associates about their experience with this drop, and how hard it was on them. And I think that's probably something that is often forgotten in all of this. So yeah, we're gonna just have a bit of a chat today, just a bit of a chat, and then I'll share some information with you towards the end about the upcoming drop so that you have that ready to go. I apologize if my phone goes off a lot today. The Louis Vuitton runway has just walked a couple of hours ago now, so my sales associate Peter is now in store and he's sending me photos and information, so it might go off. I've put it in with the P's to try and muffle it a little bit, but yeah, I apologize if you hear my phone in the background. Okay, so from my perspective, issues that arose from this first Murakami multicolour drop. So my only issue that I had with the drop was region buying, but that is not specific to this drop, nor is it specific to Louis Vuitton. Region buying exists across all luxury houses, and across all drops, and it drives me absolutely bonkers because I hate that I can't just have access to everything. Here, let us show you everything that we're making. Oh, no, you can't have those things. Drives me just absolutely insane. So that happened with this drop as well. There were things that just didn't come to Australia that I wanted, and I couldn't get them. So for example, the GM Dauphine bag that I was very much interested in, no, we didn't buy it. Can't get it. Sorry, not happening, Meredith. There was another piece that I wanted that I have been lucky enough to secure through a very good friend, and it has now arrived, but I'm waiting for my other orders to come through before I unbox that. And the only reason I have orders is because at the 11th hour on the day of launch, I said, oh, and by the way, can I get this piece? And Peter had a heart attack and went, yes, okay, we'll see what we can do. So that's the only reason I have an order, and I'm not even sure if it's going to be fulfilled at this point. So that was my only issue with it. However, I hear all the other concerns that people had around this. So the tier buying system. So that was not only considered incredibly elitist, but also inconsistent across different stores, across different countries, across different regions. There didn't seem to be a consistency with it. So in Australia, the first round of orders went in, I want to say the beginning of December, and that was only open to basically VIPs. So sales associate looked at their clientele and went, these are my clients that I'm going to release this to. we ordered, and then I believe there was a second round like right at the beginning of January, just before the drop happened. And it was fairly streamlined throughout Australia for that. However, I know that in other countries, people were getting offered the opportunity to pre-order who weren't considered VIP, and then someone else was like, well, I want to do it too, and they're like, no, you can't do it. And so there didn't seem to be a lot of consistency around that, nor transparency around that. And I think that came down to management. A lot of this is going to all land back on management's head for all the problems that they had with this, and head office's head. So there was no real directive in, this is how it's going to roll out across the world. We're going to keep it very McDonald's-like. Everything's going to be standardized, and this is what we're going to see. Instead, they went, okay, so we're going to do this, and then someone else did something else, and they went, oh, can we do that? All right, we'll go do that too. So it was very inconsistent, and a lot of people felt really ripped off by that system because they didn't have access to pre-ordering things. So I most certainly can see why that is super frustrating for all of you who had gripes around the tier system ordering. Tier system ordering is nothing new. It exists all the time. So as I said, the runways just walked this morning. I have access to re-see. So anything that walked the runway that I want this morning, I will absolutely have the opportunity to pre-order that straight from the runway. And that's not open to everyone necessarily either. So technically speaking, tier ordering exists all the time. It's just that because this collection was so hyped, you knew about it. Like, you really knew about it because it was in your face. People going, I've ordered, and you're like, well, how did you order? So yeah, I see that it is frustrating, but when you desperately want something and you can't get access to it and other people are. There were also massive issues around stock, orders not being fulfilled, refunds. People are still waiting for their orders, like that they ordered with the original round. Like, there's still things that are outstanding. So there were a whole heap of stock issues. It was a mess from start to finish. And it continues to be so now. So people are still placing orders. Every now and again, a bag will come up in the system for ordering now for the sales associates, and they'll order it, and it could be 12 weeks before you see that. So is it a matter that things are being returned and now they're there for buying, or are they making these products on the go? Or do they have a certain amount of products that were in rotation at the time, like in production at the time, and now they're starting to actually have counts of those in the system, so they keep coming up. So if there is something that you have missed out on, please don't give up hope yet. Stay on it all the time, because they are popping up constantly in the system, and then suddenly sales associates will jump on them and they'll be gone, but then something else will pop up. So if there's something you still desperately want, don't give up hope just yet. There are still things coming through. Will there be a full restock? My information is it's possible, but not probable that it could happen. They might happen. They don't know. So once again, there is no information coming back down that food chain to the sales associate level, or even the management level within the stores, the store director level, to give information around that. So yeah, just don't give up just yet. It might still happen. We also had issues with stores not doing what they knew they were supposed to do. So for example, in Australia, there is a particular store that always does the wrong thing. I won't name them, but I know who they are. And they sold stock that they knew wasn't coming to Australia. It was not in the Southeast Asia lookbook. It was not there, which means that it was not bought for this region. Yet they were selling it to clients on pre-order and taking money from those clients, knowing full well it was never coming. Like, that's just wrong on all levels. It's not ethical. It's immoral. And I have a real issue with that. You know, if I know it's not coming to Australia, you sure as hell should know it's not coming to Australia. I should never know more than the sales associates do. So the fact that they did that, that really rubbed me the wrong way. And the same store released orders early. So I sat at Christmas dinner with Louis Vuitton across from one of the very big bosses. And I said to her, oh, we've paid for them early. What usually happens is if you've paid for them and they're allocated and they arrive in store early, you'll release them to us. And she looked at me, she said, no chance. It's not happening. They all signed contracts. All stores, all higher management stores signed contracts with head office specifically around this launch that held them to account if they released items early to anybody. So that deadline of the 3rd of January, it was a hard deadline. They were contracted to that. They should not have had any product walk out of any store in the world before the 3rd of January. But there was in Australia, and there were in other countries as well. And the entire world signed the same contract. But Louis Vuitton is very selective about who they'll slap over the wrist and who they won't. And that also drives me nuts. Like, if you're going to have a set of rules, then you have a set of rules. There's policies and procedures for a reason. It should apply to everybody. So yeah, that drove me a little bit nuts. But they were contracted. They had to physically sign contracts specific to this launch around what they were going to do. And then we had stores who just ignored them. And then the packaging issue. Yes, the packaging. Now, I am someone who has all the packaging. I understand that makes me incredibly lucky. I got the panda tag. I will admit that the piece that has arrived from overseas that I was waiting for has the little onion man as well. So I technically speaking have all the packaging that was out there for normal consumption. That was not just influencer based. So influencers got special dust bags and special boxes, which has driven people absolutely nuts. Jerusha from Jerusha Couture, who is one of the very original YouTubers here in the luxury space, and we love Jerusha. I will link her channel down below. She talked about false advertising. It's false advertising, and she is correct. It is false advertising. If you're going to put it out there on social media to be consumed and to try and drive hype, but then not give it to your normal consumer, then there is going to be an undertone of dissatisfaction with the fact that we didn't get something that was created. Obviously, they created a certain amount of dust bags and boxes just for the influencers and probably celebrities and, you know, whatever, to get, but then they didn't have that trickle down, which is really hard when you're seeing it all over the place. Like, you're seeing these be unboxed before the launch, because that's a very different thing. These aren't being sold, they're being gifted. And that's trying to drive hype. But when you buy into the hype and buy the product, the packaging's not there. So that was a massive issue. And then the last issue was Pandagate. Pandagate, as I'm calling it. So this is my Romy wallet, which I bought, and mine has a little panda as the ring pull, as you can see. Now, a whole heap of these, including my friend Deb from Wild Unfiltered, I will link her channel down below as well. She got one of these without panda, just had a little LV circle. And we all went, where's the panda? Panda's missing. And apparently a whole heap of people got them without the panda. It was Pandagate, the panda was missing. So they have had some kind of production issue with these wallets where some got pandas and some did not. Now, I would have been really cranky if I didn't get the panda, because the whole reason I bought this piece was for the panda, because I wanted something with the panda on it. It was pink, suited me. It's the white multicolor, but the panda was a massive reason I bought this. So if I hadn't got the panda, I would have been cranky, and so should you if you didn't get the panda. Return it, it's defective, they need to fix it. So yes, Pandagate was a thing. So there was an issue with production somewhere along the line, clearly, because pandas got forgotten. What about the panda? The poor panda. So Raver Panda should be on your zip pull if you got this Romy wallet. And I call him Raver Panda because he looks like he's been out all night at a rave. It's coming down the next day. Some of you will understand that, some of you won't. Those of you who don't, you've led a quieter life, and good on you. So yes, little Raver Panda should be on your Romy wallets. So let's address some of these issues that have come up. So this is badly handled. It really was. There will be an argument from Louis Vuitton that they did not expect what they got in terms of just the sheer number of people who wanted this release. I call bullshit on that, and I don't believe it either. If they honestly believe that, if they honestly didn't think that this was going to be as hyped or as wanted as it was, then somebody needs to be fired in their research marketing department, because I could have told them that. Every millennial who now has, generally speaking, enough money to buy at least one thing from this collection, you know, or they'll find the money because it meant so much to them in the luxury space. Of course, I'm not talking about people who don't care about luxury, but if you care, if you've really bought into the luxury space, and you wanted this, as a millennial, you will generally be in a financial position where you can at least afford to buy something tiny from this collection, and that will give you that feeling of, oh, this is what I wanted when I was younger. So if they didn't think that this was going to do as well as it has, then somebody needs to be fired, because anyone could have told them, anyone in this luxury space could have told them that this was going to be massively hyped and it was easy going to sell out. So they should probably plan for that. I also argue they made the hype. They created this hype. They wanted this hype. They have been on this for ages. They tried to keep it under wraps. They say they didn't. They leaked information so that it would be out there. They wanted this. They created this beast, and now they're going, oh, but we didn't know it would bite us. You made the animal. You made this monster. So don't be surprised when it bites you, or try and go, oh, but we didn't know. Then you haven't done your research, and that's not good either. They also pushed it because they demanded a sell-through from the stores. So all the stores were told they wanted a sell-through. So that means that they wanted to sell out before it actually hit the floor. So all stock, they wanted it pre-sold. If it made the store floor, then they wanted that stock sold on the first day. They wanted a sell-through so that they could go, look, it sold out. It was fantastic. If that's what you're promoting, and yes, there's an argument that they always want that, but for this, like, it was the 20th anniversary, like, they knew, they made this. This is the world they created. So Louis Vuitton cannot stand there and go, oh, but we didn't foresee that this was going to work this way, or sell through like this, or have this much hype around it. You made this problem. Now go and fix it, or plan for it better. If you're going to push it, then plan for it. You can't go out and there willy-nilly and go, oh, let's just throw it at the wall and see what sticks. No. You wanted us to buy this. Here we are. Sell it to us. But you've got to have the product there. So given the size of LVMH and Louis Vuitton especially, do we think that somebody fell asleep at the wheel and did a really poor job? Or do we actually think this was a whole massive marketing stunt from start to finish? So this has created so much, I wouldn't call it backlash, but conversation around the launch and around the collection. It has driven Louis Vuitton. So there is no bad press, generally speaking. Like, it's got to be pretty bad for it to, like, really affect your bottom line. And especially with this collection, it would have to be terrible. So did they screw up? Or have they set out from the very beginning to do this? Was it a failure, or was it an absolute triumph because it sold through and people are still talking about it weeks later? You could argue that it was an actual triumph for Louis Vuitton, because it was a sell-through and we are still talking about it, and people are still cranky, and people are still chasing those pieces. So it's an interesting thought, isn't it? Was this screwed up from the start, or was it always planned to look like it was screwed up from the start? Ponder that for a moment. So for this collection, I draw comparisons to the Kusama launch. Now, Kusama the first time around was a much smaller capsule collection than the original Murakami collection, most certainly. Murakami went 4 years, Kusama was a small capsule collection, but it was very collectible and very well known if you knew Louis Vuitton well. But when Kusama came back for the subsequent drops, was it last year? Was it 2023 or 2024? Whenever the Kusama drops happened, might have been 2024. That was massive, We remember seeing statues of Kusama. The dots were everywhere. That packaging, oh my God, I was still getting that packaging months later. Now, they did not sell that collection through, most certainly not, and there are still pieces kicking around now. So it was not the sell-through they wanted for that, and they created a lot of hype to try and make it a sell-through. But if you can do that for Kusama and have that massive ramp up and all the fit outs that they did at the stores and just the packaging that came through, if you can do that for Kusama, I really don't understand why it couldn't have been replicated for Murakami. Murakami was always going to be more popular. They had to plan for that. They had to plan that whatever they needed for Kusama, they probably needed twice as much for Murakami. That's just forward planning in any company. So I don't understand how they can do one thing for one artist and something so substandard for an artist that bought them so much money for so long. I don't understand that strategy at all, because we had seen so much with Kusama. And there will probably be conversation around, well, different financial times, so they couldn't afford it this time. What absolute crap. Yes, different financial times. I understand that. Louis Vuitton's profits are down. They're not existent. They're making money. It's okay. They're fine. They're not going anywhere. They're doing all right. Their bottom line's still pretty healthy. So you can't say that, oh, well, in these financial times we need to cut back. What crap. You should be using this as an opportunity to springboard your next numbers. So throw some money at it that you have and make it amazing in every way. So I don't wear it's a different financial time thing. They're doing okay, the old LVMH. They've got some money there. They're okay. So yeah, it's not as simple as, oh, well, it's different financial times. The packaging, they should really have made more of it. And my packaging, I thought that Peter had packaged all my stuff in store. Apparently not. So because mine were pre-orders, they came out of Singapore, because that's where the Australasia region is based out of in terms of its head office. And all my packaging was put together in Singapore. So they gave me the Louis Vuitton box. They cut my little tissue paper for me, to size. They put it in the box, and then apparently the ribbon came in little Ziploc bags with the box inside the box, and that's how it arrived to my store. And then they would put the ribbon around it. Now, Peter had to go and negotiate with a different sales associate. Hang on, where's my little panda? There he is. Peter had to go and negotiate with a different sales associate to get me these. So these were sent to store, and then they were given out to sales associates based on how much they had pre-ordered with their clients. And these were rare at Sydney, and Peter went and negotiated with another sales associate, and she gave him 2, which I am very grateful for. Thank you. So it was that tight to get packaging, and the packaging was sent out to stores based on their pre-orders. So they got the pre-orders in with the packaging ready to go, and then excess packaging was assigned to store based on how much they had pre-ordered. So the bigger the store, the more packaging they were likely to have. Obviously, pop-ups got far more packaging because they were a pop-up. Australia didn't have any pop-ups, but the Australian Maison in Sydney got more packaging than, like, I don't think the airport store would have even gotten anything. So those of you in the US, essentially, you really felt that, because if your store was tiny, then they probably didn't get any packaging at all. So it was based on that. Packaging is also a budgeted thing per region. So the region has to decide how much of their budget they want to spend to buy packaging, and if they can undercut that and save themselves like thousands of dollars, they will do that, which is really unfortunate. It should have been, we're going to actually put some money into this packaging and have everybody get the packaging like they did with Kusama. So yeah, it was under budgeted, under ordered, and under provided across the board. And the people who got the best packaging were the people who had the opportunity to pre-order, because ours came with our orders. Like, that wasn't assigned at the store level. They came ready to go at that level. So we got the best packaging for that reason, which is another reason those of you who couldn't pre-order are really cranky, because that's not fair either. And I most certainly can see that. Ultimately, packaging that is produced in this scale, like for a company as big as LVMH, in as many millions of runs that they would have done for the bags and the tissue paper, when we're talking about that level of mass production of packaging, we're talking about things costing cents. Like, cents, not dollars, cents. So, you know, like, for the sake of what might be a 20-cent bag and a 10-cent piece of tissue paper and a 5-cent panda and some ribbon, all up, it might cost you $1 per consumer to give them all the packaging. Now, those dollars add up, most certainly, and those consumers will buy the product regardless of the fact that they don't have the packaging. They will be irked by it, but they will essentially buy the product because they want the product. But for the sake of $1, an Australian dollar at that, which is not worth anything in the rest of the world, you could really just make people happy. But at a high management level, like I'm talking head office in Paris level, they don't care about that. At a sales associate level, they most certainly care about that, which is where we get this real disconnect between the two, the boots on the ground versus the people who sit behind a desk in a different country, because they don't feel the same pressure or the same backlash as those who are sitting behind a desk in Paris do. So the packaging for me is probably my biggest bone of contention, because I don't see why you wouldn't just want to make people happy. And I get the cost that goes with that, but LVMH has the money. It would have driven people to want the packaging more if it was more readily available. I'm not talking like make so much that we're still getting Murakami packaging 3 months from now when we've moved on, but I'm just saying, at the very least, there should be enough packaging to accommodate every piece you sell, or at least 2/3 of those pieces, because generally speaking, there will be people who buy multiple pieces who don't need as much packaging. But just give the people the base, like, let them have cake. Like, just, it's not hard. It's paper. It's so simple. And yeah, I think that was probably the biggest missed opportunity for Louis Vuitton across this whole thing, was the packaging. And we're seeing the fallout from that now. So my takeaways from this whole debacle that has been, they should have had enough packaging, yes. But I also believe that they should have packaging that is specific to each launch and make the hype. So it's going to be very hard to hype up again, essentially, like, especially because people are feeling so burned by this first one. We've got cherry blossoms, which are about to drop, and then we've got cherries that are coming in a couple of months. So my understanding of what I'm being told at this point is that this packaging is going to be used for all the launches. That's great. If you missed out on this first one, it means that you've got a shot at getting it if you buy pieces from the next 2 launches. The smart thing to do to keep the hype going would have been to do cherry blossom packaging for the cherry blossoms and cherry packaging for the cherries. You know what? I'm a collector. I would have bought pieces specifically to have the packaging from each drop. And yes, I understand that that's insane to buy things that are worth hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars to get $1 worth of packaging, but I'm a collector. And I'm a big Murakami collector. So I would have been all over that. And I think it would have driven that hype again. Oh my God, we're going to get cherry blossom packaging. What piece do I want from this? Because I really want the cherry blossom packaging. They could have created that. There was probably, I had some conversations where it was like, well, did that cheapen the brand? I don't believe it does. And I believe the brand drives on that collectability and that capsule collection. And the reason they keep bringing back the artists, and we've just had the Nego, and like that keeps happening because it drives people coming back. Packaging is no different. Big brands have got to stop looking at packaging as an afterthought and really buy into the fact that people want the packaging. So it's a massive missed opportunity that A, they didn't have enough for the first one, and B, they're just going to roll out the same packaging for the next ones. Like they could have really made it collectible. I really think they missed huge opportunities with online selling. So a lot of people that reached out to me said the online was the only way I could get anything because I don't live anywhere near a store and I don't have a sales associate, so I'm certainly not top tier. So I didn't have any chance because there was nothing available online. In previous launches, we have seen online get stocked separately to store, and we have generally seen an online exclusive. Kusama had online exclusives, so things you could only buy if you got onto the website. So why, when that has been a strategy up until now, did they not carry this through for this launch? Online has been a source of income for Louis Vuitton for a very long time. It allows them to reach clients that do not live anywhere near a store or who physically can't get to store. So that is why they stock it differently. So when stock comes in, here's the stock for this store. That stock is online. Store sales associates cannot touch that online stock. You either need to use a customer service representative or you need to get online and do it yourself. It is that simple. I have wanted online exclusives before, and my sales associates have had to go and work with someone from customer services to get that piece, and then I have to pay the customer service person through the link that they send. I can't do it through my sales associate. That's just how it has been for years now. It was not done for this launch, and that was really hard on a lot of people because they just weren't online. Like, you didn't have the opportunity to buy them. Why was online not stocked? It's beyond me. If you have this e-commerce site that you're trying to drive people to, especially for canvas, hello, where's the stock? So that was also a huge problem. In terms of your sales associates, they're having a really rough time. I've spoken to several who are all getting hammered daily by clients yelling at them about things like, I can't get this piece, or I didn't get the packaging. Make sure I get the packaging. When you get packaging in, I want that packaging. They don't have any control over what's just happened. Yet they are taking the brunt of all of this because it is the sales associates who cop this. So a couple of things to remember. They don't have any real ability to change the system. All they can do is provide feedback up the chain, which is probably going to go onto deaf ears at this point. It's also really important to remember that in certain countries, or in a lot of countries, canvas does not attract commission for sales associates. This collection was predominantly canvas. So the sales associates were sent into battle without armor, without bullets, and expected to provide a sell-through for head office, all while being paid peanuts for doing it, which might be the most horrific thing I have witnessed this company ever do to their staff. And I have heard some doozies, but that is up there for me. They did not get commission on a lot of these items. What was the incentive to work around the clock and respond to messages constantly from people going, I'm just after this tiny little piece, if there was no payoff on the other side? Yes, they attract a wage. I understand that, but it is a retail wage. It is not, they're not making doctors' salaries. They rely on commission to bolster their wage so that they can live and they can better themselves and their lives. They weren't given that opportunity, yet they had all the pressure put on them for this. You will sell this through, you will contact your clients, you will make this a success. Oh, but we're not going to pay you anything extra for it. It was just like disgusting as far as I was concerned. I watched several sales associates, I had conversations with several sales associates in 3 different countries, and they melted down over this because it was so much pressure on them. And the constantness of having people reach out and going, I want this, I want this, I want this, and you can't provide it to them. And then when you don't provide it to them, people can be very rude. Or I can give you this, but I can't give you the packaging, but I want the package. Like, it's just rough. Like, it's so hard. I did welfare checks on my own sales associate on the day because I was like, I'm just making sure you're okay. I didn't care at that point about my pieces. I wasn't asking questions about my order. I wanted to make sure he was okay because I knew how much pressure he was under. And I shouldn't feel that as the client, but I certainly felt it for him. And I knew that this was going to be a shit show from start to finish, and he was going to bear the brunt of all of that, along with every other sales associate. So my suggestion, and I really hope a lot of you take me up on this, because I would love to see this roll out across Louis Vuitton. So here's my suggestion. Please help me. If you're really angry about something about this release, this collection, whether it be the packaging or how it was handled or whatever your gripe is, email the customer service line. Please send emails. As a company, you seek feedback, whether actively or passively, and you collect data based on feedback. If all the feedback is being fed through the sales associates because they know people are cranky and they're saying to their upline, I've got clients who are angry, there is no hard data there. They're not handing in statistics at the end of the day going, I've had 5 clients ring me today and they're angry about A, B, C, D. That's not how that works. They don't have time for things like that. So it goes back up the line that people are unhappy, but it's all very abstract. There is no hard data there. As a company, you act on hard data. So if you've got 7,000 emails from angry clients about the way that this was handled, you now have hard data that you cannot hide from. Does that mean they're going to act on it? Probably not. Are they going to take what we say on board? Maybe not. But we can certainly provide them the hard data for why we're cranky. So please, if you are angry, stop yelling at your sales associate who cannot do anything about it and is already having a really rough time, and email customer service and say, I have a complaint. Here's my complaint. Outline your complaint and send it off. Give them hard data to work with. Hard data is very hard to ignore. And if everybody did that around the world and we suddenly had this mass email of these were the things that caused us anger over this, who knows? Maybe going forward we might see a slight shift in how they do things. They have to take notice at some point, but they're not going to take notice of a whole heap of sales associates complaining about the fact that they're being yelled at because they don't care. They don't. But they will care if enough people get involved and actually give them hard data where here's my email, let me send you an email about why I'm angry. Give them that. So please stop yelling at your sales associates about packaging. They cannot help it. They didn't do it. It's not their fault. Send an email. Send an angry email. Don't write in all caps. It's not good. But send an angry email. So yeah, let's get out there and actually see if we can affect change in a different way rather than yelling at the staff who don't get paid to get yelled at. So they're all my thoughts on the shit show that was this rollout. Do I think the cherry blossoms is going to be any better? Probably not. I think it will be quieter because it's cherry blossoms. I think cherries might be quite popular, but probably not to the same point that the multicolor was. So we'll probably see quieter rollouts from here. So my understanding is that the cherry blossoms orders will start to open up around the 3rd-ish of February. So it's not very far now. I will probably get the lookbook very soon for Australia, and I will once again do a video for you guys so you can see all the pieces that are coming to Australia and the Australasian region and the product codes that go with that. And I will maybe do a video around what I'm looking at. I'm really not looking at a lot from this launch, but it's about to happen. So once again, orders will open up. I imagine this is going to be the exact same rollout as it was for the multicolor. We will see the same process put in place. It'll be tier ordering. Your orders will come in. Packaging will be there. They will be sent out. Will there be stock? I think you probably will get stock on around the cherry blossoms in store on the day. I think you've got a much better chance with this launch than you did with the multicolor. But you got to love the cherry blossoms, and it can be a little polarizing. Cherries will ramp up again, and I think it will sit somewhere between the multicolor and the cherry blossoms in terms of its popularity and how much hype there is around it. So yes, if you are interested in the cherry blossoms and even the cherries, make sure you subscribe down below. I give all the information as soon as I have the actual information to give and good photos. I've already got the photos, but they're not good quality. I want the good quality ones, and more importantly, I want to be able to tell you what is coming specifically to our region, because I think that's important. I don't like it when people get hung out with, I really want this piece, but you're not getting it, because I know how that feels, because it happens to me all the time. So yeah, I'm disappointed with this launch. I'm fine, and I get that, and I come from that place of privilege where I am fine with everything that I ordered. I love everything I ordered. There's not been anything that I missed because I have fabulous friends in other countries who have helped me out. I have pieces that I have said to Peter, if these come back into stock, I would like them. I'm trying very hard to be a supportive client at this point and say, if this comes back, great. If not, don't worry about it. It's no problem. So that's where I'm at the moment with these pieces. But I honestly don't know if they'll restock. And I don't know if anybody knows if they're going to restock other than people sitting in Paris. And I don't feel like communication is just crap. It doesn't filter down. So I don't know. I can't tell you if there's going to be a restock. I really can't. I would hope that some pieces get restocked, but who knows? Ultimately, was this a massive failure or a huge triumph? I guess it depends on where you sit with most things. Depends on where you sit, where you stand. I feel like for the consumer, the average consumer, so the ones who aren't open to early orders, so the clientele who aren't VIPs who got access to early orders, your general client or consumer, I feel like they would say it was a massive failure. And for them it was. It most certainly was a massive failure for them. For the VIPs, it didn't feel any different to any other launch for us. We got the same level of service we always get. And I understand that makes me incredibly privileged. I know that. I honestly do. But it was really no different for us. I probably felt a little bit more pressure because I needed to make choices, because I knew that there was no leeway in this. It was like, you commit to what you want, because you're not going to get it on the other side. It was one of those things where we knew it was going to be sell through, so I wasn't going to have the opportunity afterwards to go, oh, hey, and I want, and they would be able to source it from somewhere else, that this was an absolute, so make your decision. So there was a tiny bit more pressure, but it was still privileged pressure, if you will. I would say for Louis Vuitton, this was a massive success. So they would call it a triumph. They got the sell-through. That's all they wanted, was a sell-through. They could have made twice as much stock and still had a sell-through. They could have made twice as much packaging and made clients happy. They could have done it on a much bigger scale. And once again, I'll say, if they didn't think it was going to be popular, somebody needs to be fired, because that was bad market research. So yeah, was it a triumph or a failure? Depends on who you are, really. Louis Vuitton, absolute triumph. Your average consumer, failure. So yeah, that's my take on this. Stay tuned for information on cherry blossoms. I will share it as soon as I have it. In the meantime, please be nice to your sales associates. Send an email. Do me a favor, send an email. If you've liked today's video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button down below. It means a lot to a content creator when you hit that subscribe button. Please also hit the little bell notification so you know when I upload videos, which is usually twice a week. I'll also throw up my Instagram handle for you, so you can follow me over there. I put lots up in real time, lots around my collection and my day-to-day life, so please come follow me over there. I hope wherever you are in the world today, you are having a fabulous day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.